Good morning.
Good morning.
It's Transformation Day 20. And I have my partner in crime here, my hubby. And it is our anniversary today. Happy anniversary,
Happy
love.
anniversary.
We are married 28 years today, which I have to say for me is hard to believe because I am only 30. And, he robbed the cradle because, he's about 80. But that's beside the point. So yesterday I left off and I said that today we were going to talk about humor and we were going to talk about, how that has helped us in our marriage and how it's helped us in our illness and my illness. So humor for me is huge because if you know me, I'm a big belly laugher. If you knew my dad, you would know that he was a big belly laugher. And I don't mean like we giggle. I mean like I laugh loud enough they can probably hear me in Hillsboro, Texas.
We're a few miles away.
Yeah, maybe. True. And I'm just kind of known for that. I'm not ashamed of it. I laugh big. So the downside to that was that after I had surgery and I had all that cut on, if you saw my pictures yesterday, and I had the abdominal surgery in addition to that, that was not conducive to laughing. You could splint it with a pillow and you could do those kinds of things, but not conducive to laughing. And there's something about our oldest daughter, Nettie, and they're all funny. Don't get me wrong. But there's just something about her that is underlying funny to me at times.
Comedian.
She is. But she doesn't even have to say anything. She's like this silent comic to me. Now, the girls say I don't have a sense of humor. They don't think I'm funny at all. I think it's just because they don't appreciate my humor. But we are at the hospital. This is the morning after my surgery. I'm wanting to get up and be able to go home. So I'm trying to do everything just right. I'm trying to be the perfect patient. And Nettie gets her water bottle and she gets a drink. She didn't get a drink like a normal drink. No, she's silly Nettie. She gets a little drink out the side of her water bottle and she's got a one eye on me. And to me, she looked like Popeye the Sailor Man. I cracked up laughing. I laughed so hard. I tried not to big belly laugh, but I started laughing.
It didn't last for but about 5 seconds.
5 seconds, and the tears started rolling.
Tears started rolling.
Huge tears, because I locked up, buddy. I locked up from right here to my groin.
All them muscles locked up.
I kicked those girls out. I'm like, out of the room. And then I'm hurting so bad I can't even breathe. I'm like, and tears are just flowing. And I can hear them in the hall talking to one another. And they're trying not to giggle, but they're sisters and they're kind of giggly. And so they got tickled. And then I got tickled, but the pain overcame it, man. I couldn't even giggle. So Brian helped me.
But just about that time, the doctor walks in, so she thinks something's wrong. So she comes over, what's wrong? And I told her we started laughing, and she had the muscle spasm. So then she's like, okay, well, it'll pass.
Yeah, so there's my surgeon. Here, I'm trying to be the perfect patient. Here's my surgeon standing beside my bed, and she is the most wonderful lady. And she puts her hand on my shoulder and she's clearing my little tears on my face. And she's going, just take a deep breath. It's okay. You're going to be fine. And I'm thinking, deep breath. I'm having a spasm. I can't even breathe. But she was right. It passed. So the girls got where they wouldn't hardly come in the room, all three at a time. Poor Nettie couldn't even see me most of the rest of the day because even if she saw me, I would start to giggle. So it was something else. And that's when I learned the word muscle spasm, I think. And I learned that, comedy is good. Maybe not all the time, but comedy is good. So we made it home and I had learned don't laugh. So everybody around us, my girls didn't come for a couple of days because, they know mama can't not laugh. It's just me. So they didn't come for a couple of days. It was just pretty much Brian and I.
they came. They didn't make you laugh.
Yeah,
Tried not to.
Yeah, well, they came, but they didn't stay long either.
Right.
They were just kind of in and out, in and out. They didn't stay a long time. They didn't make Mama laugh. They just like checked on me, gave me what I needed, and they was gone. We didn't have long conversations, which could trigger Mama into any kind of laughter. And so Brian, one morning, he's in there and he's checking on me, and I had one of those power surges. That's what I'm calling my heat flashes now. They're just power surges. And they had given me this little fan at the hospital. And it folds up. It's so cute. I can't even figure this dang camera out. It folds up into this little bitty packet. And then, when it pulls out, it's kind of like those
car visors
that
twist.
Yeah.
And it opens.
And then it opens up, and it's this big old fan. You can fan yourself with it. So I reach over into the drawer. You hear my goats? I reach over into the drawer, and I get that thing out. And when I open it up, it goes flying. Well, of course, it's funny because, everything to me is funny. So I get tickled. He gets tickled. So you know what happens? Laughter. And now we got the giggles. So it starts. And the spasms start. And the tears start. Well, when I'm in pain, I call out to the Lord. Because that's just what I do. So I'm sitting. Look at his face. Look at his face. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, Jesus. And I'm serious. I'm calling out to Jesus. Come on. Tell him what you do.
I did too. I called out. I called out to Jesus also, just not quite the same way you did. So,
My husband over here, he's trying to be nice, but he comes over and he lays his hands on me. But when he says Jesus, I hear the laughter in his voice. Oh my Lord, he sounded like one of Medea or something. Whenever you hear Jesus, I'm just like out of the house. I'm just I couldn't hear him breathe. If I could even hear him breathe, I would get tickled. He tried to go around the corner of the living room. I'm like, out, all the way out. I need to hear you outside, the door shut.
She kicked me out in the heat.
In the heat, all the way to the barn with the goats. I'm like, get out the house, buddy.
Mean.
And then I left him out for a while, and I regained my composure, and I called him on the cell phone.
It's still funny.
And I call him on the phone, and I'm like, Brian? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, no, click. We wasn't even ready. We still giggling. Bad thing was I had to pee. And at that time, it's when I was in jail. I couldn't even get out the chair. So I was at his mercies. So next time I start the conversation with, I have to go to the bathroom. I need you to put my feet down. So he's like, okay, I'm coming. But I couldn't even look at him when he came in the house. Could not even look at him. But today we can laugh. So slowly, this is how I got over it. I started watching America's Funniest Home Videos and giggling a little bit at a time till I could get used to giggling again. And then one night, Becca comes in from work, and I'm sitting there watching America's Funniest Home Videos. And she comes in, and she sits down on the Chase Lounge next to me. And she says, now, Mother, if you start having a spasm, I'm not leaving the house. You are. I was like, what? She said, nope. She said, you chose to watch this show, so if you start having a spasm, it's on you. I said, no, I can laugh again. She's like, Sure. But since then, I have been able to laugh.
And it's been nice. I don't get kicked out in the heat now.
And we've been doing lots of laughter.
Lots of picking.
Yes, lots of picking. But yesterday I talked about how all this not only affected me, it affected our marriage, it affected Brian, it affected our kids. And today is our anniversary, so I am going to talk a little bit about marriage. And I'm going to talk about how this affected us together. Because I think from the outside looking in, sometimes Brian and I hear that, y'all have a great relationship and y'all are so close. And that is true. We do. We have a great relationship and we are very close. Now, it is, we've been married 28 years. We've made it through our rocky years, I think. I can say that now. We've learned some little secrets to marriage. Communication.
We talk.
We talk a lot. We're each other's
I
best
talk
friend.
more than she does. I mean, you can tell that already. So
I know he's the talker out of the two of us. I listen all the time. That's why I go live. It's my opportunity to talk.
that's right. Otherwise, I'm talking.
All the time. And, but it hadn't always been that way for us. And when you add something new into the mix, like, financial stress, an ill child, we've had our house burned, lost parents, and he's had a couple back surgeries along the way, and then we got the big C. So it hadn't always been easy. And we didn't always communicate. And we weren't always in church. So it isn't as easy as it seems in marriage. And I think a lot of times, we like to give up and give in so quick. I like to think of it as like a tree. We were talking about that this morning. Even before we got out of bed, we lay there and we talk. And I said, I think you said that you didn't even know what love was when we got married.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thought I did. I mean, I knew what love was then, but how love has grown and how the Lord has shown me to love you even more. I mean, so.
I think that's so
But
true.
you have to be willing to learn. I mean, and because it's a learning process.
It's so true. I mean, I think it's like I said it's like a tree. When we first got married, we were like this little sapling. We didn't have deep roots. We didn't have big branches. We hadn't weathered a storm yet. We hadn't been pruned. All those things happen. Oh, motorcycle starting over there. That's telling him he's got to get ready to go to a party. And since I'm not working, those things are very important to us right now. So he's going to hop off here in a few minutes. But anyway, it's like a tree. We hadn't weathered any of those things yet. And sometimes we have found that, we've had to have people help us along the way. Our tree has been pruned. Our tree has had root issues at times. And one of our biggest storms, here recently has been cancer. But I'm so thankful that our roots are deep and that we've been able to weather it. But one of the things that we did and that I've shared with someone here recently, and I want to share with y'all, is that from the time all of this began, at each appointment that we went to, people have these wonderful date nights and they get away from their kids and they do these things, and I think that's amazing. Our kids are grown.
If you don't, you should.
Yeah, if you don't, you should. Our kids are grown. So we kind of live life like we're boyfriend and girlfriend. We're only married when we got to talk about serious stuff like,
bills. Ugh.
bills, business,
Ugh.
Life insurance, health insurance.
Sometimes the children.
Sometimes still those children of ours. But anyway, otherwise we just date. And he's my boyfriend. I always jack around with him a little bit, and I say, well, my boyfriend treats me better than that, Or I'll ask him, my husband won't do this for me, could I get my boyfriend to do it? But the key for us through part of this has been that every single appointment and every single thing that we've gone to, when we've left there, we have gone to spend time together. Just the two of us, before we've come home, before we've gone to talk to our kids, before we have talked to our parents, before we've shared anything with anyone else. We've made the commitment to leave that appointment and to spend some time together. And to really discuss not only what it means about me, what that appointment meant to me, and how I felt about the appointment, but what it meant to him. Because sometimes in the appointment, we heard the exact same things, but we felt so different about them.
And perspectives. I mean, sometimes my perspective is different than yours, so it's the male and female perspective thing. So that's why we talked about it, and I see this, so I see this.
And that came true with Reconstruction, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the choices about Reconstruction. You know, I think my husband is a protector. He was worried about me feeling feminine and, you know, having those concerns, and education is important, and, you know, educating about why I make my choice, and, you know, these kinds of things.
Yes.
And so
I worried about your psych side. I mean, of course, your health side also, but I mean, I worried about your psyche side as far as how you're going to think about yourself and how you're going to see yourself and how other people was going to see you and how you thought about that. Because, like I said, I mean, like I told you before, I just punch them in the face and then we'll keep on going if they say anything. But I mean, that's not the right thing to do, of course. But that's just my protective side. So,
and that has been one of the things, you know, that I have to deal with too, is yeah, I told Brian, I said, it's not so much for me that I worry about if people care if I have breast or if I don't. It's more about how I see myself within and learning to live in my new transformed vessel that I have. I'm still the same person, but it's still that acceptance of who I am now, and learning to live in my own skin. And that was just something I had to learn to do, and that he had to allow me to do. And so it's growth on both of our parts. It's growth in our marriage. I mean, we've been married this long, and it's huge growth in our marriage for him to allow me to be who I am now, because I'm somebody a little different than I was, you know, a month ago, than I was 20 days ago. You know, 20 days ago, I looked like what society expects a woman to look like. And, you know, now 20 days later, I don't necessarily look like that. Not that he minds.
No,
but
I don't care.
It's what society thinks and how my mind has been trained, you know, even in that setting. So it's just very deep on so many levels. So I guess what I'm saying today is I have no idea. No. I guess what we're saying today is, you know, marriage is hard if you're married, but it can be easy too. But it's worth it.
Marriage is work. I mean, it's
work. It is work.
It is. I mean,
and if you're single and you want to be married, it's worth waiting for the right person, because it's work. And if you want somebody who's going to work with you, and if you're single and you're content and that's where the Lord has you, kudos. I am so happy. Being married isn't for everyone, and that's okay. I mean, just like boobs aren't for everybody. So, you know, we each are called to our own thing. I just know that communication is what's important. It's important in marriage. It's important in friendship. It's important in so many things. A relationship with the Lord is important. Pardon me. We couldn't be where we were without that. And for us, humor and comedy is what keeps us going.
And that old saying, we don't go to bed mad. I mean,
oh no, we don't go to bed mad. That's true.
That is very true with us. I mean,
we'll stay up all night. We'll talk about it. And we've done that before.
We had those sessions.
We will.
Where I talked all night and she just listened.
You can tell that was true. But we work it out.
We did.
We work it out. Whatever it takes.
Next night we went to bed happy.
You know, and the thing about it is that we don't do the silent treatment.
No.
He doesn't silent treatment me, even though, you know, he is the talker of the two of us.
Even though I really don't talk much, I don't do the silent treatment. No.
Silent treatment gets us nowhere, except for more angry and puts more fuel on the fire. You know, so, you know, I feel like at one point in our marriage, our tree was, I don't know if you've seen that thing on Facebook where you've seen a tree where it's been cut down and then this new little sapling comes up from the cut tree. I think at one point early on in our marriage, that was kind of us. You know, I think the Lord kind of leveled us off a little bit. And then we got this brand new sapling that came up. And when the new sapling came up, there was so much to learn. Our roots were still there, but it was like a new tree had to come up from there, and it had to learn to grow with new things. Not that that little sapling hasn't faced a whole lot, but it's just that it had to learn so much more. And its root system has gotten even deeper. So
that's another day. But yes, I was dumb whenever early in our marriage. So
you heard it right here. All right. So that's all for today. Y'all go out, enjoy your Saturday. If you're as a weekend warrior, like we work weekends mainly, enjoy your work week, which is just a few days, and then enjoy your week off. If you're a weekday warrior, enjoy these couple of days. Get out, enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, and have a wonderful weekend. Brian will be working this weekend while I am going to primarily rest. I did get out last night. I went to my husband, sweet husband, took me out.
I was the plus one.
He was my plus one at a work event last night. And I have to admit that I was very anxious about going. Not anxious because I don't know why I was anxious. I think I was anxious just, number one, to go out in public, to feel me in my own skin. Anxious to put on a dress, see how I looked.
She looked good.
He tells me that no matter what. I told him it was obligation in those vows. No, he doesn't. If I don't look good, he tells me straight up, you need to do something with that. But also just to be in a crowd of people. It's easier for me to talk to y'all here. I can show you my scars. I can do all those things. But to be in a crowd of people who might ask me questions and I have committed to be real, it was kind of scary for me. But, you know, it was okay. I took a 3-hour nap before I went. We ate dinner and I came home and went straight to bed. I was exhausted just from that little couple of hour outing. But it was worth it. And I survived, and it was wonderful. So I marked that down as the first real, I don't know, public interaction I've had. And tomorrow I'm going to try to go to church. We're going to see how that goes since I don't have any drains now. So we'll see how I do. I am starting to get back into my own new skin. All right. Talk to y'all later. See you tomorrow.
Deuces.